Hey, this is Robert Reagan, and I'm about to read one of my short stories. Before that, though, I'm going to run my mouth about myself a little bit. Writing is basically my life. I don't write grammatically correct, misspell words, but it's the idea and what I'm actually saying. It's not how it's written, it's what I'm actually saying. And I've had a few people that enjoy my stuff over the years, but still the starving, struggling, tortured writer. Anyway, it all started when I was like 19. Started writing poetry. Did that for 10 years. Did the open mic scene, spoken word. Um, was nominated for Best Dark Poet on MySpace. That's one of the biggest things that ever happened to me. Lost, as a matter of fact. But when I was about 29, after doing poetry for 10 years, stepped my game up and I started doing short stories. Did that for about a year and a half, and then I wanted to tackle trying to write a novel. Tried to write 3 different novels. None of them was working out. Ended up scrapping all 3 of them, and basically feeling to myself like I was going to be one of those writers that couldn't tackle a novel, one of those writers that did short fiction and poetry solely. And this whole thing, it killed me, because I really wanted to do this. And time went by and I pretty much gave it up. And then one day, an idea came to me for a novel, and the beginning, middle, and end, it all came to me all at one time. And right then I knew that I was going to do my first novel. It was it was the best experience of my life when I finally did finish that novel. Like, no how I could ever compare to that. And since then I did 5 more novels, scrapped another one. At this point now, I'm actually working on my 7th novel, almost finished with it, and I've jumped to the 8th one. Last chapter of the 7th one, still in the air, and I'm jumping to the 8th one because I just have so much stuff in my head and I just got to get it out. And I live, eat, breathe writing. I love it. Like I said, I'm not a good technical writer or anything like that, but I just love putting words on paper. And growing up here in the sticks, as you can see where I'm from, it's not a cool thing always to be an artist. People around here, they're not into reading books and stuff. And so I've basically been an outcast and all kinds of stuff growing up. But I just keep going and I try not to let it get me down. Um, anyway, I'm gonna quit running my mouth now. I'm gonna finally read this story. Sorry. The story is called Starlet, and it's one I wrote when I was 29 when I first started doing all this. Tina grew up under the bright lights. Cameras flashed when she was on and off screen. She grew up fast and became one of the hottest young movie stars in the business. She had all the requirements: a DWI, drug possession, shoplifting, and assault charges. Tina even had a rehab stint. All she needed now was the celebrity sex tape. Next, her agents hit her with the idea for a new girl group. They wanted to rape the benefit of all her talent. Putting together a musical team, they said the group needed one of those long names like the band Panic at the Disco. Various names were thrown about. Everyone was delighted when they reached an agreement on the name 98 Degrees on the Block. Lil Wayne did his mid-guest appearance when their first single and said, "Them hoes got the block so hot it's really like 500 degrees." The group's success was short-lived. Tina had another Hollywood meltdown, getting loaded and shaving her head. The whole world was shocked, and then she went solo. She downloaded pics of the Pope on the internet. When asked for the reason behind her strange actions, Tina said, "I've got to do something to set off this Sinead O'Connor look." And so her career continued. She made movies, did music tours, then got her own reality TV show. After the first season, she wrote a book detailing all her wild experiences. It was on her book tour that she met her biggest fan. She thought it was kind of weird that blood was smeared throughout the pages in the book, but she signed it thinking she'd never see him again. Wrong. He started hanging out at every nightclub she went to, popping up to say, "Hi, Tina, remember me? We met at your book signing." It was another step towards her Hollywood walk of shame. Tina had her first official stalker. Of course, there had been countless others sending her fan mail, explaining how they jerked off to her in pictures in Tiger Beat magazine. But they weren't true stalkers. They weren't devoted to following her all over the city like this guy, snapping pictures of her crotch like the paparazzi, but only to keep them in his private collection. It turns out he too was an aspiring entertainer. He was a writer unsuccessfully pushing his first novel. His fame soared after he was shot by a cattle prod while intruding on a private ranch. He was charged with trespassing and stalking, along with endangering all the small kids Tina mysteriously invited to her sleepovers. After that, her stalker became a celebrity himself, as his first novel was finally published. Months later, Tina was in a nightclub hanging out in the booth with her lesbian DJ girlfriend. They were making out and drinking excessively, and then Tina's stalker, new favorite writer, walked through the door. She could have immediately had him arrested for coming within 100 feet of her, but instead she went and got him to sign her breast. She told him, "Now that you're a star yourself, I guess it would be okay if you came over." Like that, they were the new power couple. They threw drunken bashes and destroyed thousands of dollars worth of recording equipment. But then his second novel and her third album both flopped, as well as her direct-to-video movie. With their popularity fading, they both agreed to buy their own video camera. It was time for Tina's first celebrity sex tape. They set it up inside their hotel room, and after a line and a shot apiece, they went to work, missionary doggy style, every way possible, right on film. The film that mysteriously leaked to the public. Tina and her former stalker, now paid writer boyfriend, were both outraged. At least that's how they acted on all the entertainment news shows. Behind the scenes, their product started to sell again, and they were both ecstatic. But somewhere, a lame, sad, drunken DJ had no one to play a song for. Her beloved Starlet Tina had ran off with some lame new writer. Together they had made a sex tape that the whole world owned. Even Mrs. DJ, who turned her own strap-on herself while watching. It all blew up backstage on the first night of Tina's North American tour. Her former girlfriend showed up outraged. A violent catfight ensued. There were scratches to go along with Tina's hair that had just started to grow back being pulled out. Tina rushed out the back exit 5 minutes before showtime. There was a wild car chase through the streets of Hollywood. Tina at the wheel of her own limo, being pursued by a white Ford Bronco, which had already been proven to be a reliable vehicle for mischief. Meanwhile, the stadium was set on fire by Tina's fans, who started a riot when she never showed up. Finally, the chase ended with Tina crashing the limo into a van full of terrorists. The Al-Qaeda members were labeled victims of deranged celebrities. They were let go at the scene and later blew up a major theater, while Tina and her ex-girlfriend were being booked on careless and reckless endangerment and DWIs. They were separated and sent back to the blocks. Tina made the pop star unit, where her cellmates turned out to be Paris Hilton and Lindsay Lohan. They were both big fans of Tina, both giggling and hugging her, saying, "Girl, it's your first time in jail. You're a major star now." Lame ass story. To me it was. That whole thing came about while I was blazing and watching one of those shows about Hollywood celebrities and their big meltdowns and stuff. Probably all members of the Illuminati or some shit. But anyway, if you watch this, thank you. And please support a struggling artist.